We're really excited to bring many different programming opportunities here at the headwaters of the Comal. This site is just rich in so many different learning tools. It is the headwaters of the Comal River. It's in a unique geographical position, being at the end of the plains and the beginning of the Balcones Escarpment. Did I say that right, Judy? Yes. Judy's the actual expert on that. So there's a geography around that. There's a rich history. It was where Prince Solms came to settle his people and develop, and even before that, for tens of thousands of years, people have been coming here to enjoy the water resources and the animals and other things that those water resources provide for. We have, we hope to connect people to nature. There's such a growing disconnect between people and their natural environment, so we will do lots of learning for youth and adults, and just really try to make that connection or remind them of the connection that they had when they were young. We look forward to bringing art and music programs here, just another way to partake of this really incredible, beautiful environment. What have I forgotten? There's so much.
The problem with programming is that we have too many ideas.
Yeah.
But certainly over the years, it's going to be a lot of fun creating and as well getting other people involved to kind of give us ideas about programming. But we envision this to be from newborn all the way to the end of life learning experience, and the programming that will center all around that.
Yeah, you look at this site and you think about the number of endangered species that live in this ecosystem. So that's a big programming effort we can take in educating the public on the endangered species that live in the Comal River ecosystem. There's a tremendous amount of archaeological history on this site. Native Indians going back as far as you can think lived on here, and you can see why, because here's the resource, got the hill country right up on top, and then you've got the educational part that we want to do, which has to do with conservation, how to landscape your yards for the best way to purify rainwater, stormwater runoff, rainwater harvesting, a black water system we're putting into the buildings when we do that, all of those educational type of programming. So it's almost unlimited. It's almost too much to get a hand of.
That's right.
And even going forward, as the land is being restored and rejuvenated, as we want to make sure we even capture the return of the life that birds and butterflies, what might be coming here that had never existed before. So even going forward, there's so many unknowns, and as we learn and capture that information, we'll certainly be using that to share with the public. And so programming for the public, but even within the world of education, getting universities involved in the learning process and the teaching process as well.
What are some of the endangered species that we'll find in the Comal ecosystem?
Well, there's a number of them, and I probably can't get all the names right, but the biggest one located here is the fountain darter, and then there's a beetle, dryophyid beetle, that's in the ecosystem here. I know there's a couple others, and I can't pull up their names right now, I'm sorry, but one of them is also a beetle. And we don't have Texas wild rice here. That's in the San Marcos River. That's another one that's in this general region. And the blind salamander, but that's really not being affected much here because that's usually down in the aquifer that creates this river from spring flow. So overall in this region, there's the Edwards Aquifer Authority that is charged with protecting the aquifer and the water quality and quantity. They did a habitat conservation plan and got a permit from the Environmental Protection Agency, an incidental take permit is what they call it, because by law you're not supposed to harm any endangered species. Well, just the nature of being humans existing around here does some harm. And so the whole point behind that plan was, okay, you tell us what you're going to do to help the ecosystem and help protect the endangered species, and we'll give you permission to go about living life here. And so that's part of this whole thing also, is it is enhancing the ecosystem, protecting those endangered species, and is meeting the spirit of that habitat conservation plan and that incidental take permit.